Hi everyone, welcome back. So today's video is going to be all about taking cuttings from various different bushes and plants. So beside me here I've got some flowering currant cuttings. These are not the edible currants, these are the flowering currants. I've also, behind me I've got some bay tree cuttings and some various other things. And I'll talk a bit about the rooting hormones and how to take your cuttings, whereabouts to cut to get them to root successfully. And we'll also be repotting these today as well, because these have now rooted and they need to be put into their individual pots before the roots get too tangled up in there. So if you stay tuned, I'll get back to you in a second and we'll make a start. Okay, so these are my cuttings that I've got. These are all rooted now and they have been growing in these for a good couple of months at least. So we've got bay tree, these are bay tree cuttings. I did a really big cutting and then some littler cuttings just to see just to see what the difference is. These are juniper tree cuttings. Again, these are all well rooted now, hopefully. These here are gunner plant cuttings. These are the huge plants with the massive leaves. These are achieved by root cuttings. These are not, you don't just cut off a bit of the plant, you actually plant some of the root and they grow. And these ones here are the flowering currants we were talking about. Okay, so I'm going to use this plant here as an example. So this is a currant bush. This originally was a cutting about 2 years ago. So this was a cutting itself. And now I'm going to show you how to take cuttings from this to grow your own plants. So the best place to get a cutting from is relatively new growth. So this is grown this year, this bit here. And the best place to get it is right next to the stem. So you want this bit come off the stem. So this is called a heel cutting. So you strip off all the leaves, majority of them. You can leave a couple on the top, or you can take them all off. It doesn't really make much difference, especially with the currants. And this is the plant you want to bury, so any buds that are growing on this bit, just pick them off. And you want to bury it a good few inches. And with the currants, you don't need rooting hormone for the currants, but you get many different types of rooting hormones. But this is powder form, so you just literally dip that in the powder, the rooting hormone powder, and then plant that into a plant pot with some sandy compost or soil, nice and well draining, and that should grow roots within a few weeks. So I'll take you over here and I'll just show you how you would put this in. Okay, so all you would do with the cutting, after you've applied the rooting hormone, you just get a tub full of compost and mix some gritty soil or some sand in there. As long as it drains really, really well, you'll be fine. Then you just make a hole. You want to bury it quite deep, almost to the bottom of the pot, and then firm down your soil around the cutting, quite firm, because you want good contact between the stem and the soil. And within a few weeks, you can almost guarantee that will root in there. But anyway, now I'm going to show you some which have already rooted, and we might do some repotting as well. Okay, so now I'm going to show you rooted cuttings. So all of these are grown from cuttings. So I'll get these ones out of the way and we'll make a start. The first ones we'll do are the flowering currants. And I'll do one and I'll get the rest done, and then I'll do one of each one just to show you how the roots develop. So with these, what you want to do is being careful, just gently put the pot upside down, your hands in between the stems, and hopefully it should come out quite easily. He says. There we go. So you can see there, there's lots of roots from these. So now the fun part is trying to separate them. So if you turn them on this side, just gently knock away the soil. You should be able to separate the plants quite easily. Don't worry if you damage some roots, it's not the end of the world, they will recover. So that is a new plant right there. So this is a flowering currant, one well rooted cutting now. So you just take that, fill up your pot. The soil mix is not overly important as long as it's free draining and quite fertile. It should be fine. So I always start by putting a bit of compost in the bottom, so the roots have got something to get straight into. And just place the plant in there and fill in around the edges. And we go right up to the top of the pot and then gently firm down the soil. Give it a knock every now and then just to settle the soil around the roots. And that's all there is to it. And just give it a quick water. I won't bother watering it because this is really damp because it's been raining anyway. So I'll get the rest of these done and then I'll show you the other ones. Okay, so there's all the flowering currant cuttings potted up into their individual pots. So these are 3 litre pots, so they'll be fine in them for a good year or so. So I've not decided which ones to do next, but I'm thinking I'll do the bay trees next, and I'll show you one of them and then I'll get the rest done and then we'll do the other 2 as well. I do apologise about the chickens as well, they're having a moan at the moment. So with the bay trees, if you ever grown a bay tree, you'll know if you have one big tree, it will send up lots of little shoots like this around the base. So these are the best things you can use for the cuttings for the bay tree. You just cut them off and stick them in some soil with some rooting hormone and they should root quite easily. So give your pot a bash if it won't come out, just loosen up the soil a bit. That should come straight out after that. So you can see there how well these have rooted. All those roots in there. So now it's just a case of trying to gently pry them apart and separate each tree. If they're quite well stuck together, just loosen off the soil as best you can. Don't try and rip them apart too much because you will damage the roots. If you give them a bash and a shake, they should come out quite easily. So there's the first one. This one's quite an unusual shape. Make a good little bonsai tree. But look at the roots on that. So it's just a stick stuck in some soil with some rooting hormone, and this is what you get a few months later. Got a brand new tree. So potting up these is exactly the same as the currants, so I'll just get these separated and then I'll pot them up again on the time lapse. There's no point in me boring you too much, but you just work away at it, don't be too rough and they'll come apart quite easily. So that's the big one. So maybe I should have took all the big cuttings, because the big cutting seems to have done really well. All the little ones have taken as well, but obviously the bigger you can get away with, the less time you have to wait until you've got a full-size tree. So I'll just pot this big one up. It's the same process as with the currants, so just fill your pot up as far as you think it needs to be to get the roots in the right place. You don't want to bury them too much more, but you can bury it a little bit deeper, doesn't make much difference. Certain things don't like the stems being buried, and other things they seem to grow better if you bury them deeper. So but with the bay trees, I'll try and keep the roots quite close to the top of the pot, so that they can spread downwards into the soil. And so you just fill up your pot around the roots. Give it a gentle press. You want it quite firm, but not compacted. So there we go. There's a nice new bay tree. And so I'll get the rest repotted, and then we'll start on the other one. Okay, so we've potted on the bay trees into their individual pots now. So some of these are really quite unusual trunks on them. So that one's got that really nice bend there, which makes it really sort of quite nice. So if it has got a bend, don't try and straighten it, leave it, because it will look nice when it grows. So we're going to do the juniper next. So these haven't been in here too long, so only about a month, so I'm not sure how well these will have rooted. So we'll have a look at one, we'll just see. So they have got some roots, I can feel they've got roots. So we'll tip them out. You can see roots there. Not a huge amount of roots, but they should be fine. There you go. that's the same process again, so I won't bother recording the rest of it. Okay, so that's the junipers done. I'm calling these junipers because that's what I think they are, but I'm not actually 100% sure what they are. But it does look like some sort of juniper. But I've got the mother plant, and these are just little side shoots, which I just peeled off, and just where the heel is, so sort of like that branch there, you can make a cut in with. You just peel it off and take off the majority of the foliage, poke that in, and it should grow roots quite easily. So that's them done, and the flowering currant and the bay trees. So now we're going to do the gunnera plants. So these were a little bit different. These were more like where you split a rhubarb crown. You just kind of take away, sort of, you can use a spade or something, just separate the crown of it. So where all the leaves come out, this bit here is called a crown. When this gets a lot bigger, you can separate that and just divide bits off of it. So we'll see what sort of roots we've got in here. So again, these have only been in there about a month or two, so they may not have a huge amount of roots, but they have been growing, so they will have some roots on them. Oh, sorry, just putting you back on the tripod. Okay, so let's see what's in this pot. This is just planted in ordinary soil, because these are incredibly easy to grow and they're really hardy, so don't need any compost or anything, just normal soil for these. Okay, right. Let's try and tip these out now. Oh, there's one. That's a little one. But you can see that was just a little bit of the crown poked in. Didn't even have a leaf on it when I put it in there. And that's rooted. So that's gunnera. There are roots on these. Oh my god. That one's done a bit better. So these will grow huge. These leaves can get as big as a person. You'll have seen these in some of the show gardens and stuff. They love water, so you put them next to a little pond or a lake or something, and they'll get massive. That's the biggest one there. So the bigger bit of crown you can get in, obviously the quicker it will grow, and the faster it will grow roots. So, but I was just showing you can do it with just little ones or big bits. So I'll pot on this big one, and then I'll get the rest done and get back to you. I'm just mixing in the soil that come out of there with the stuff that was already in here. Get them two out of the way for a minute. So these aren't fussy, as long as they've got moisture. Same process, I'm just pressing the soil around the roots, and try not to break any of the big roots. No matter if you break a few, but if you can avoid damaging the roots, it won't slow down its growth at all. If you do damage a few, it might sulk for a few days, but it'll be fine. Whoa! Almost had that one done. I'll drop the pot. Okay, so just split the pot there when I was trying to lift it up. Yeah, that's that. That's the Gunnera. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so that's all the Gunnera plants, Gunnera cuttings potted up. So you can see that one there only has one leaf, but it will grow really fast. So I'm not worried about that. And the juniper there, if it's not juniper, please let me know. Fairly certain it is. The flowering currants, all there, and the bay trees here, all grown from cuttings. So all grown for free, except for the plant pots and soil, obviously. But there you go. So I'll get back to you in a second. Okay guys, so that's that video done. So that was all about taking cuttings, various different ways of taking cuttings. Depends entirely on what plant you want to take your cuttings from. Like the Gunnera, where you split the crown and take root cuttings, or the bay trees where you take your cuttings from the suckers, and the other ones from the heel cuttings. But you can do nodal cuttings, which is where you cut it just below where a bud is. It's not quite as reliable as the heel cuttings, but still works. So anyway, thanks so much for watching guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you will subscribe if you haven't done so already, and like the video. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll see you on the next one guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.